Alrighty guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, we'll be doing a top end rebuild on a Yamaha Blaster. 2002 Yamaha Blaster top end rebuild. This piston had low compression. The rings were not good. Still had the OEM rings in them. I mean OEM piston. But you can see I tried cleaning it up, but still nothing. The rings, I'll pull the rings off here in a second and I'll show y'all. But first, I'll show y'all what tools y'all will need to pull off y'all cylinder. Tools y'all will need to take it off. Take the cylinder off is a 12mm wrench for the cylinder. And then y'all will need a flathead screwdriver. First y'all need a pick, any kind of pick, sharp pick, anything, doesn't really matter, to pick out the pin, the circlip here. And then y'all want something to push out the wrist pin. But y'all just want to be careful not to hit it hard or anything, because y'all could damage the rod. And that's really it. That's all the tools you will need. But I do have an assortment of screwdrivers and stuff. Usually you don't need those. And here's the cylinder. Cylinder isn't great, or it's not the best shape, but it will still work. Those scratches are really not bad, and they're lower on the cylinder. It'll still run fine. Yeah, I honed it out, and it should be ready to go. Has some V-force reeds on it. Can't really see because it's been spray painted. And yeah, and this will be a quick flip. And yeah, here's a carburetor. It's a Chinese carburetor, but it has been rejetted. It's been jetted with a 280 main jet. And yeah, it's ready to go. It's been cleaned, and it'll be ready to go. And yeah, I'll pull off the rings here in a second, and I'll show y'all how they look. Alright, I pulled off the rings off that piston. And this ring was on the bottom. This was the bottom ring right there. And then this was the top one. And look at that ring closely. Y'all can see it's pretty even around the whole ring. It's pretty close. Then if we'll take a peek at this one, it's thicker here, and then not as thick there, real thin. And that's, could cause piston slap and stuff like that. And low compression. And at that point, you just want to change the rings out, or just change the pistons out, which I'm just going to change out the piston here. The piston still could be saved. You can still save the piston and just throw some new rings on it. It's still good to go. Still, this engine is almost completely OEM. Still has the OEM crank in it. Just a little bit of side-to-side play. Well, decent amount, I guess, but no up and down play. And then yeah, ready to go. Here, I'll pull off the circlips and show y'all how to get that done. Alright, so y'all need to pull out the circlips. You need a pin, not a pin, a sharp, I guess you could say that, yeah. Then you get it, and you pry it open, kinda hard to do it with one hand. Here. And you just kinda wanna get it. I'm gonna be changing these circlips anyways, and then you just gotta let it. And just let it flick out. I didn't go that time, but... And there it is right there. You usually want to put a hand over it so it doesn't go flying. But I'm going to change these out anyways, because these things are already worn out. And then, after that's done, you want to get your screwdriver. You don't want too big of one. Just like a medium-sized one. Something like that. And then go from the other side, where the circlip is still in. You go from there, and then you go, and you just kind of push it out. You just go, and then just carefully push it out. And then I'll show y'all how the end of that. Here, I'll cut it off and then show y'all. You just push it out from the other side, and that's it. That's it. I just finished pulling that out. It's super simple. It's very easy. Just if it's really struggling, if it's not coming out, have a friend or your brother or whoever to come and hold the piston from this side. They'll hold like the crank in place, and you don't want any like you don't want to hit the screwdriver hard from on that pin, and it could damage your crank. It could bend your crank, and stuff like that. So you don't want to do that. And what I do, I just take that, boom, put that in there, and yeah. The piston kit that I have is a Nomura. I know y'all might say it's, oh yeah, Chinesium, they suck or whatever. These pistons are actually very great. Yeah, this is stock size. The only thing I do recommend, if you actually want your four-wheeler to run for a while, is change out your wrist pin bearings. These things are garbage. You want to change them out and get like a Hot Rods or a Wyseco Pro X, something like that, or not Pro X, just something like Wyseco Vito's, Hot Rods, anything like that. But yeah, here's the Nomura piston. They're great pistons as long as you know what you're doing. They're great pistons, cast, you know, they're great. And yeah. I'll show you how to put that in. I'll get the rings on. I'll show you how to get the rings on. And yeah. Alright, so I just pulled the piston, or pulled the rings out, out of the box. Now I'll show you how to put the rings on. It's super simple, as long as y'all don't do anything dumb, don't bend them or anything. It's kind of hard to do with one hand. I don't have a stand or anything. So what you want to do is make sure it's facing the right way. I don't know if y'all can see that right there. You want that to be going like that. I don't know if y'all can see that, like that. And then what you want to do is just kind of get it, just push it on. You guys want to make sure it's between that line. You want to go from bottom to top, and on most rings it will say this way facing up, like it says top right there. It's very simple. If you mess up something, it's you have to been doing something very wrong. What you do is just kind of put it on right there, and then you just kind of twist it around like that, and you're just gonna go around the circle and then wait for it pops in. And yeah, you just want to be careful not to bend the ring up or anything. And yeah, that's all you really got to do. And I'll show y'all the end result. All right, so I started it off, and all you really need to do is just kind of go around the circle carefully and just kind of push it down. There are some different ways that you could do it, but this way is very easy. And if it does catch on to the first one, you just gotta pull it out carefully, and then yeah, here, I'll get this one out real quick. Here, I'll be back. So we got the bottom one in. You want to make sure it fits pretty good in there, like that. And time to do the top one. And I'll probably be able to do this one one-handed. And yeah, we got it started right there. Top one is even easier. So get it, push it down, and boom. That's really it. And then one thing is when you put it on the piston, I'll show y'all, but you want to make sure the lines, the space that's still left, you want to make sure that's between the pin thingy right there, because yeah, just want that to be like that, basically. Yeah. And yeah, here, I'll get that on for y'all, and I'll show y'all how to do that. And yeah. All right, now time to put the piston in. One thing is that y'all want to oil the wrist pin bearing. I already have one in there. It's a Hot Rods wrist pin bearing. I will be using the Nomura wrist pin rod. They're perfectly fine. They work absolutely amazing. Just the one thing is y'all want to oil it. Make sure it's nice and oiled before you put it in here. You want to oil it in the piston too, in there. So it just makes it better. It's easier to slide in. And I'll show y'all. And then one thing when you're putting the piston in, you want to make sure that says EX, that means exhaust port. Exhaust, the arrow, you want to make sure that's pointing the exhaust all the time. If it's not, then it's not gonna run. It will start, but it will not rev out. Sometimes it won't even start. You just want to make sure it's always pointing the exhaust. That arrow always pointing the exhaust on any 2 strokes. Per hour, probably 4 strokes too. I haven't rebuilt 4 strokes yet, but I believe it's probably the same. But 2 strokes, if it has an arrow, always pointing the exhaust part, always, or else it will not run. But yeah, and I'll do that real quick and be back. All right, so I got the pin in. I already oiled it. I'm using just oil can thingy like that pumper with 5W30 in it. Some people say 2-stroke oil. Yeah, 2-stroke oil, but it honestly really doesn't matter. As long as you got it oiled, you'll be perfectly fine. All right, so I'll do it one-handed. Honestly, you just want to make sure that's pointing, that arrow pointing exhaust port. Get that in, get that lined up, and then just kind of push it in carefully, even though that really wasn't carefully. And it should just go in, like that. There we go. And then this needs to be pushed in a little bit more to be able to get that pin in. And I'll push it in, and then I'll show you how to get the circlips in, or the C-clips, or whatever they're called. And yeah. All right, so I got it pushed in just enough so I can put the circlip in, and they're right here, circlips. Here, I'll open them up real quick. One thing is, if you have a rag, throw a rag down into your bottom end, so you don't get the circlips down in there, because sometimes they will fly out of your hand or pop out of this piston, and you do not want them flying into your bottom end. I mean, yes, you can get them out. They are magnetic. You can get them out with a magnet, but still, just save yourself some time and just put a rag in there. It ain't gonna hurt nothing. Just do that, and now we got the circlips right here. Right there, got them opened up with my mouth. And then we just get one by one, and then just put them up. And you want to make sure the open part, you can see the open part is facing up towards the piston, up that way. So you don't want that where the opening, you don't want the opening on the circlip to be where the opening is on the piston. Sometimes the circlips could fly out, and then you could damage your piston and cylinder. You could cause it to lock up, and you don't want that to happen. And here, I'll get them put in for y'all, and I'll be back. All right, so I got the first one in. It should look something like that. It almost looks like the thing is, but that's just oil making that look like that. But yeah, it's in. The opening is towards the top. And I'll get the other side on, and then I'll show you how to get the cylinder on. Alrighty, guys. So I just finished putting in that C-clip on that side. Now we're gonna be cleaning, or not cleaning the cylinder, putting the cylinder on. You just want to make sure the cylinder is clean before you do put it on the piston or anything. You want to make sure it's nice and clean. I've honed it out. It should be good to go. Yeah, you want to make sure there's really no grit or sand in there, stuff like that. And then you want to oil it up. 5W30 is in here, or 2-stroke oil. It doesn't really matter as long as it's some good oil. You just want to oil it up, and then get the whole cylinder oil, and then you want to get these rings oiled really well, like that, or better. But yeah, you want to get the rings oiled and stuff like that. Cylinder oil, you just make sure it's really nice and oiled up. Yeah, I'll be back. I'll show y'all how to put the cylinder on. All right, so I just finished putting the oil in the cylinder and on the piston. You want to make sure these rings are really good and oiled up. And another thing, when you're gonna be putting on the cylinder, I'll show y'all. It's kind of hard for me to record. I don't have a tripod or anything. I will be getting one soon. But yeah, you want to make sure these rings are between, or in the middle of that little notch right there in the piston. You want to make sure it's like that on both of the rings. when you put the piston on to the head, the piston onto the cylinder. You want that to be like that, or else it ain't gonna be no bueno. And yeah, I'll get the piston on. It will be hard for me to do it with one hand. I wish I had a tripod, but I don't. But yeah, I'll get that on, and yeah, I'll show you how to get that done. And I'll show you start it. So I just got the cylinder on. I almost forgot to pull that rag out. Well, it's honestly, you can't miss it, but obviously you want to make sure to pull the rag out, or else you're gonna have a problem. But anyways, you want to make sure when you want to do that, you want to put these bolts back on, the cylinder bolts. This is the clutch cable thingy that holds it, holds the clutch cable. Then you want to put on these bolts. You first, I should have said this before, but you want to make sure your gasket is good. You're the one that goes from the cases to the cylinder. You want to make sure the gasket is good. You want to put these bolts on all four sides, and then torque it down. And then, well, I don't really torque it down, just hand tight, or not hand tight, just tighten it down with the wrench, 12mm wrench. And yeah, make sure it's nice and tight. And then check compression, check how much compression you got. You want at least to be above 120. 120 is already kind of low-ish. I had 90 psi in it before I changed the piston up, as you can tell. And it was not cutting it. It did not want to start. It started once, but then it stopped running. It didn't want to run again after that. It was really hard to start. So I was like, rebuild it is. Obviously, you wanted to do that. I just wanted to make sure how it sounded, but I already did a full. I had to change out the crank bearings. The crank bearings were shot. They were not good. They sounded like absolute dog crap. I changed them out right away. It just makes the whole quad sound better and everything. It's just a good maintenance thing to do. Yes, you got to pull the whole engine apart, but it's just a good thing to do. And yeah, here, I'll do that, and then I'll show you how much compression it has. Alright, so I got the cylinder all tightened down. Now it's time to check the compression. I have a Harbor Freight compression tester kit. You want to find the size that fits in your spark plug hole. Get your thingy, thread it in, and then just start it in. Make sure it's nice and tight. It is kind of tough to tighten it in sometimes when you don't have the gas tank off, especially on a dirt bike. It's pain in the butt. I had that on one of my bikes. I had to check compression, and it just wasn't fun. Yeah, I just literally took off the gas tank. I was just so frustrated. But yeah, and you just gotta tighten it in there. Make sure it's nice and snug on there. You have a O-ring on it, and yeah, you don't want to make sure to drop that. And then you just put that on like that. Hook that on. Make sure it's good, nice and seated. Like that. And then you just hop on the quad. Oh yeah, there you go. Feels like she's got compression now. Alright, let's see. Let's see what she can do. There you go. Almost. That's 125, 30. Almost one. That's like 140. About 140 psi. That's very good. I'll push that out. Let's do it again. Let's see what she got. Oh yeah, that's good right there. About the same. And yeah, I'm gonna put the exhaust on, the gas tank on, and then I'll break it in, and I'll do a sound. I'll do a far startup then, and then yeah, we'll see how she sounds. This is a great sign. I had 90 psi before, and yeah, this is a great start. Now she will run better. And yeah, I am doing a full restoration on this four-wheeler. I kind of repainted the frame, almost like the original color frame. Has an FMF exhaust. Has a hydraulic brake conversion. This is the 2002 version. They did not have the hydraulics yet, but the rear has been converted hydraulic. CTI conversion kit. Very nice, works very well. I'll go show y'all the, here are the plastics, blue plastics, pristine condition. The front plastics and the nose piece are outside. The one sucky part, that thing is that I have this kind of air filter and that broke. But I do have an extra piece outside. I'm gonna have to switch that out and then she'll be ready to go. I'll show y'all the FMF exhaust. It's practically brand new. And yes, y'all be like, why is it out standing like that? But yeah, she's pretty much brand new. Practically a brand new exhaust. Yeah. This thing is gonna be ripping. That's why I jetted the carburetor to a 280. Usually you want to do like a 270, 260. They do come stock with a 230 jet. You do not want to run them on a 230. That's a little bit too lean. I mean, yes, you could run it on 230, but you do not want it to run a stock carburetor. But these Chinese carburetor, the reason why people buy them and they don't run is because they come with a 130, a stock 130 jet on these Chinese carburetor. And it obviously will not run. It will start, but it will not run. You want to change out the main jet. The pilot jet is always good. You just want to change out the main jet to like a 260, 250, like a 250, 260, 280, and then if you're going like a build, at that point you just want to get a racing carburetor or find an OEM carb, mod the carb out. But yeah, that's really what you want to do there. And yeah, I'll put the exhaust on, the spark plug in. Here's the spark plug. Almost dropped it. BR-AES spark plug. And yeah, clean spark plug, ready to go. Throw this piece of junk away, garbage, get rid of it. Throw it away, don't ever use it, because those things will cause you a big problem, especially if you're revving it out and then that thing explodes. It will ruin your crank, where your wrist pin sits, ruin your crank. It will ruin your life too. You just do not want that to happen. But yeah, but I will keep this piston. It is still good. It's an OEM piston. Obviously, as you can tell, OEM. It has no lettering on it or no numbering. I'll just buy some new rings for it and it will be ready to go. But I just wanted to swap it out with the new piston because why not? And yeah, anyways, well, I'll get back to it. I'll put the exhaust on, I'll put the carburetor on, gas tank, and then I'll show you a startup. Alright, pull this thing out. And we'll see. Alright, so I just got the exhaust on and the gas tank. Just put some gas in some premix. Got the carburetor on. Everything is on. Better do a first startup on this thing. Got the full FMF on there. Nice and tight. This thing got a load of compression, baby. Ugh. Yeah, 140, man. This thing's gonna rip. But yeah, I'm about to start it up. Just turn the gas on, choke on, and now there's only thing to find out if she runs or not. Alright, let's do a first little kicker. Oh wow, there you go. Yeah, baby. There you go. She's running. I don't really run it too much because I got no intake on it. Let's try it again. say. A little smoky. That's from the oil. Turn on this fan. Get all the stuff pulled out of here. Yeah, she runs pretty good, I'd say. Of course, she needs to tune up. It's not gonna run perfect because the intake's off. Usually don't want to run it long without the intake because of the stuff it'll suck up. Oh, and plus that was on choke and I didn't even know. And it was running pretty good. Yeah, I'd say she's a pretty good. We just need to break it in. You want to run it for like a good 5-10 minutes, and then for the first break-in, you want to let it do like a light break-in, like run it 5 minutes, barely giving it any sauce, just kind of letting it idle, giving it like not even quarter throttle. Yeah. And here I'll do break-in period, and then maybe in a couple days I'll show y'all me riding it around. And yeah, sounds good. And then you throw some oil in the transmission, and yeah, she'll be ready to go. Alright, got her done, got her all put together, got all the plastics on. Got the plastics all nice and shined up with my special recipe. Yeah. Anyway, she runs like a beast. The only concern that I got, you know, a little sloppy joppy, but that ain't a problem. You can always tighten that up. Yeah, this thing starts right up. Super torquey, very fun to drive. Yeah, I haven't really driven it that much, but she runs very good. Perfect jet. It's a Chinese carburetor, but I rejetted it. Main jet 280, FMF exhaust that it has on it, and V-force reeds, and no gasket on the head, just RTV. Yeah, 280 is perfect, I would say, jet this perfect setup. If you have stock exhaust, nothing done to it, I would always rejet it to like a 260, 250 at least. But yeah, or else how a startup. Gas is already on. Alright, let's see. Heck yeah. Perfect idle, baby. Heck yeah, sure runs good. Heck yeah, dude. Sounds super good. Yeah, she sounds good. Super nice and clean. Check it out. Heck yeah. But yeah. Heck yeah. Stay tuned for maybe another video. I might do a separate video of me maybe popping some wheelies, maybe a short. I don't know. But yeah, she looks amazing. But yeah, for sure, stay tuned for other videos. I'll have a video of me putting together back my CR125. And yeah, guys, that thing's gonna be a beautiful build. Amazing. That thing is completely new. Yeah, so this thing is running good. Gonna post it up for sale, and we're gonna sell it. Quick flip, baby. Stay tuned, guys, for other videos. And peace, guys. Have a good one.